Okay, so I am going to now show you how to mix alginate for an alginate impression. So the first thing is to make sure that you get all of your supplies. So you want to have a spatula, preferably the beaver tail spatula. With the beaver tail spatula, as you can see, it's skinny at the bottom and then it gets bigger or wider as it goes to the top. You want to have a rubber mixing bowl. Rubber mixing bowl, because as you can see, is unique from a regular bowl because you can bend it and maneuver it how you want. You want to have your alginate and your measuring cup for the water. And of course your PPE and whatever you're going to be using your alginate for. So if you're loading a tray, you want to make sure that you have your tray. So in this case, I have a very small maxillary tray. This is a pedo tray, but we're going to be using it just so I can show you to when we grab it to load the tray. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to put on our PPE. And then we're going to get our alginate. And as you can see, alginate is like a very fine pink flour or powder consistency. So we have 2 scoopers in here. So I'm going to take one out. And then there's one still in. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a full scoop. Okay? So you get a full scoop. And then you're going to take your spatula and you're just going to kind of tap, because you want that powder to fall into any air pocket that you have. So you're going to tap it, and then you're going to level it off. So then you have a flat scoop like that. You're going to put that into your bowl. And then because I'm doing the maxillary, we're going to have 3 scoops to 3 parts water. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again 2 more times. Level that off. And then lastly, once more. Level that off. And place that. Now after we get our powder, it's important that we put the scoop back in and close the alginate powder off. Because alginate is a hydrocolloid material, it does absorb water and moisture that's in the air, so we want to make sure we put the lid back on so that we don't destroy the material. Okay, so I have my powder, and then what I'm going to do, because like I said, we're doing the maxillary, we're going to fill this up to the 3rd line. So I'm going to come over to my sink, and I'm going to fill it up with water to the 3rd line. And you're going to put that water in. You're then going to take your beaver tail spatula into your dominant hand, and you're going to use your other hand to hold the smaller round of the bowl into my palm, and I'm going to use my pointer finger and my thumb to kind of come around it. Then I'm going to use my spatula just to use that water to spread it around and make sure I wet up all of the alginate. So right now I'm just incorporating the powder in. As you can see, I have some wet spots and some dry spots, so that's what I'm trying to get rid of. I'm just trying to make it to where they're all wet. So I'm using the side of my spatula to scrape the sides of the bowl to get any alginate that I have there. And then once it's all wet, you're gonna mix it to try to get the lumps out. Okay, so once I mix it, I'm gonna take my spatula and I'm going to spread it around the side of the bowl. And that just kind of smooths out any existing lumps. So you want it to be kind of smooth and creamy, similar to like a cake icing or a frosting consistency. So like that, nice and smooth, okay? So once I have that, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get all the alginate to one area of the bowl, similar to that, and I'm gonna use my spatula to grab it. At that time, then we're going to load whatever tray that we're using. making sure to get it on all sides. We're then going to use this tray to take the impression. Okay, so after we're finished, it's important that we clean up our material. So I already have a pre-dried mixing bowl and spatula so that I can tell you how to clean it. I find it easier to wait until it dries because it comes off easier. So here is my pre-dried spatula and bowl, and I'm going to use the spatula to just kind of come around the bowl and just scrape off any alginate. And I have a patient napkin laid down, but you can use a paper towel, you can use a plastic bag, whichever you want. I just use this to help keep my area clean so that I can just pick it up and throw it in the trash when I'm done. So I try to get as much alginate that I can off. I'm just scraping the sides and it comes off. As much as I can. And then the same thing for the spatula. Just have a dry paper towel that I'm using to get it all off. I'm just trying to get as much alginate off as I can. And then once I've got as much off as I can, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it to the sink and I'm going to wash it with soap and water, and then I'll finish it by disinfecting the supplies. So we'll come over to the sink and I'm just gonna use the soap and water. And just wet it and clean everything up. I did the same thing for the spatula. And once I've done that, then based off of your office protocol, you're gonna disinfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray mine with Calicide spray and then use a dry paper towel to just kind of wipe everything down. So then you have a clean beaver tail spatula. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the bowl. Just cleaning the inside and the outside. Now make sure, in this example, I didn't take the impression, but make sure that if you are cleaning your materials after you take the impression, that you change out your PPE just to maintain infection control protocols. Okay, and then my clean bowl. And then once I'm done, I just put my mess all here, close it up. And throw it in the trash. And once I do that, then I'm done mixing my alginate impression.